area very well. I also know the area very well at Dove Point, and I find it very misleading that this was put out to us. I attended the site visit. I must admit, I personally cannot see a great problem with traffic, and especially if they're operating in the situation that they will keep the labourers in. But I do find it very misleading that I had to bring one of our officers the attention to make sure that we knew this was not the area and it was Dove Point.
Jeff?
Thank you, Chair. I also attended the site visit as a lifelong resident of West Area, passed down this route many times. Reference was made to the value of the green corridor, and I absolutely agree with that. I think it's one of the great things that makes travelling through Greasby and Greasby a pleasant experience. So I'd personally be very sad to see the loss of this openness around the Greasby roundabout, which is one of the features of the area, as has been said with the pump lane, village pump on the other side, and some green spaces left on the other two corners as well. But I think we're hearing that there's no good planning reason for preventing that. I know that this is of course outlined with reserved matters, and the implication is for bungalows, and there's been reference to removing limited development rights to prevent further enlargement. I'm just wondering at this stage, is it possible to actually add a restriction to say that there will be single-storey dwellings, rather than leaving to some further application to come into a later stage for dwellings of any size and shape? I have great sympathy with the arguments about the speed of traffic coming off Greasby Road and going into Pumpley and then coming round to the Kinloss Junction. But we really have to take our officers' advice on that.
Thank you. I'm going to go to David and then I'm going to go to Stuart and then we'll come to the officers to, is that all right? To answer all the questions so that we can get them all in and then that'll be okay. David and Stuart and then Steve.
Okay, thank you, Chairman. I must admit that I have to agree with my colleague here on the right, as I live 200 yards from this very photographed location in Dove Point Road, and I do find it very disingenuous that the petitioner, albeit trying to make the best possible case for their recommendation for refusal, didn't admit at the beginning that this was not the site that it was Kinloss Road, it was somewhere else. I find that hasn't really helped her case, because it makes it look as though she's being a little bit disingenuous, to say the least. The second point, which I think is equally important, there's been a reference made to the access from Kinloss Road onto Pumpley, which again I travel probably 4 or 5 times a day for various reasons. And as everybody knows, there is a 30-mile-an-hour limit on that section of road, and they do have police presence there on regular occasions where they do stop people and prosecute them for exceeding the speed limit. But of course there aren't that many police in the area to be permanently monitoring that particular section of road. So it's not really a question of increasing legislation or making planning conditions and to make the area any safer than it is, because it's already got legislation applying for 30 miles an hour on that road. We're down to the ability to enforce that 30 miles an hour. That is the problem, not the fact that it doesn't already exist. I have to agree with my board colleague again, Geoffrey Watt, that it is very nice to see urban green space. I've lived in this area for more years than I care to count, and it's always very nice to see this. But on this occasion, this is a piece of private land that somebody has allowed to be used as urban green space for a long period of time. They are now putting in an application which is only outlined at this stage, and quite frankly, looking at it, I cannot see anything on the basis of the outline planning submission that's been submitted for reasons for objection to what is being proposed. I would have to go along with the officer's recommendations.
Oh, just like a country road. Yes, I agree with what's been said on the issue of traffic. I think it's bold of the residents to try and put an argument on traffic, but I don't think we're getting anywhere particularly on that. The issue that I asked Matthew about in advance was around its designation, if you like, this idea that here we have a piece of green open land clearly contributing to the openness, if you like, the view of the estate on a main artery from the west to the east of the borough. It says in the report fairly clearly that it's like washed over by the primary residential designation, and it isn't, or wasn't in the year 2000 designated then as urban green space as part of the UDP. Though a point was made that in the open space assessment it was designated as open space, but now I'm being advised that that in fact was an error. We're also pointed, I think, to paragraph 74 of the National Planning Policy Framework, which I had a look at and then read some of the other paragraphs in this section, which is to do with promoting healthy communities. Paragraph 77, in fact, stands out slightly more for me if I'm concerned, or if I look at that and think, actually, its designation probably ought to be around about the value that it gives to the community and to the area as a piece of open green space. Paragraph 77 indicates that local green space or a designation for local green space would be appropriate and should be included where the green space is reasonable proximity to the community, where the green area is demonstrably special to the local community and holds some local significance. And where the green space is specifically local in character and not part of an extensive tract of land, which it is not. So there's an argument to say that paragraph 77, if invoked by the planning committee, may be sufficient for us to say that the residents are coming to us and saying this is a piece of land that contributes not so much to exercise because it's private, but certainly as a visual amenity, and we are allowed to take visual amenity as being a reason for thinking that local green space is important. Which leads me, if you like, to the policy that the officers are handing their hats on, which is HS4 for housing development. And the second criteria there that needs to be met is that the proposal doesn't result in a detrimental change to the character of the area. So, putting these things together, we've got HS4 that asks us not to approve applications that are detrimental to characters of an area. Then we have the National Planning Policy Framework at paragraph 77, suggesting to us that if we believe that we have a piece of local green space incorrectly designated in the past, that the residents are suggested to us as special in nature to the community, then we may indeed have particular grounds for refusal on those particular grounds. Actually, the other issues that have been raised about traffic, etc. I think it's difficult to make an argument for speed when there's a roundabout there, I would suggest. And if access is difficult to see or exit from, then clearly people need to drive according to the situation that they need. I'm not going near traffic on this one, compared to what people on the site visits have said. But if the people that went to the site visit believe, and those that pass it on a daily or regular basis, when traversing the borough from east to west, believe that it makes a contribution to that route. And the residents are here also suggesting to us that it makes a contribution to their estate. Then maybe these are grounds that we can pick up for refusal. We need to remember that when the estate was built, it was built on, I think, an Air Force or an aerodrome, and it was handed over by the RAF to be built. And at the time they decided that that shouldn't be built on, clearly believing that it contributed to the character of the estate that was going to be built, and indeed coveted the land so that it could only be used for grazing purposes, presumably to protect it, so that it added to the character of the area. Now, I don't know whether there's others around the table wish to join me in that sort of exercise of seeing how far we can push this idea of a local green space that makes an important contribution to a particular area. But that's what the residents are saying to us, and that's what we can do.
Stuart, very quietly and shortly. Should we use the word?
of us that it has not been identified as safe and fairness. However, when local knowledge comes into the frame, I think this is where Stuart's point is right to extend. Local knowledge, it's been given a name, Paddock, donkey feed, and that falls into sort of local knowledge of what you believe the space to be. I don't think actually when we went to a planning appeal, because you believe it's an open space and you've never designated it as an open space or an urban green space or whatever that designation it is, you will find that that would be laughed at and said, just because you believe it is. You've had opportunities within your own policies to designate it, and I don't believe we have designated it as such. Anyway, that aside, I think the developer has made an effort to provide some amenity space, so that we still don't believe that it has been used as an amenity space. There's a space within it identified on the site map, but it is on the outline application. I would really struggle to support if the student is going to move immediately refusal. The other issue, and I know everybody believes that their road or the road that they see is a dangerous road and there's difficulties there. The problem that the people in the highways department is, what is the genuine impact of 4 bungalows going to have on what is already a perceived situation? Well, in reality, the car movement associated with 4 premises is going to be insignificant enough not to make a major impact on any highways issues that are either perceived or actual at the time. So I think Stuart's right in that respect, that the highways issue is a very difficult to be done with. So my view is that its designation within the UDP and various discussions around it don't give that kind of protection. It could be argued really that there's a lack of space because right opposite there's an open space identified there on the side of the map. So my view is that we would have difficulty taking on board local residents' feelings and obviously affection for the piece of land, which isn't really a bad reason. I would find difficulties supporting the reasons. And I do welcome the genuine comments of those who've been to see the site. I take on board your points that if we hadn't had site visits, we could have been duped into thinking that was that piece of land we were discussing, which I think is a good point.
Wendy, I know you want to say something. Can we just get the officers to clear where we're up to before we move on to the topic?
Thank you, through you, Chair. Just to pick up on the points that Councillor Kelly has raised. The site, the application site, is allocated, designated in the unitary development plan as a primary residential area. It isn't designated as a urban green space. Paragraph 77 of the National Planning Policy Framework talks about local green space designation. As I say, this site isn't designated as such. And when you look at designation, it talks about a number of criteria, and it talks about it being demonstrably special to the local community. For example, because of its beauty. I think, with no disrespect, but those who were at the site visit, I don't think you could describe the site as being beautiful in any way. It doesn't have any historic significance, and I'm not sure that it has any recreational value because of the fact it is private land and it could be fenced off, and any recreational value that it currently has could be stopped because it is private land. In terms of local character, it is residential development all around the site. All of these small squares are residential units, and indeed on another 2 corners of the roundabout there is built development here and here. So in terms of whether 4 bungalows on this site would change the character of the area, I have to say that's something that I think we would struggle to defend if we had to at appeal. And this site here where the pond is, this is the area that is shown as urban green space in the green space study, so it's just really to pick up on those points that Councillor Kelly raised.
Wendy, do you want to say anything more?
Well, I wanted to answer the question about this matter of the UDP, because there is a map online, and if you look at that piece of ground, you can highlight it to find out what the designation is. Unless it's been edited, it did say
The map that's on the website has various layers on it. It has the unity development plan designations and allocations, but it also has a number of other layers on. So it has the strategic housing land availability assessment data. It also has the open space assessment data. The open space assessment, which is what Councillor Kelly had referred to, is a piece of work that the council has undertaken to inform the core strategy, and it's looking at basically where the open spaces are across the borough, whether they have changed since the UDP was adopted. So at the time that the UDP was adopted, this wasn't considered to be public open space, amenity open space, and it wasn't designated as such. Slash use is understood to be grazing. The open space assessment has identified this site as an area of public open space. Having consulted with the commissioning teams within the council for that study, they consider that as an area. It's not publicly accessible, and in fact if you look at the open space assessment, it doesn't include the site on the opposite side of the road, and they think that is the area. The consultant employed to undertake that study has picked this side around about rather than the side of the front point on the other side of the front lane, which is publicly accessible and is maintained by the council. The data that was given to the consultant was basically from the council's parks and recreation department about which sites we maintain, and we clearly don't maintain this site.
Well, I think we've had, unless it's absolutely desperate, I think we've had enough of a debate. Jeff, one last comment and then we're going to move to the vote, please.
Just you haven't picked up on the question I asked about the possibility of beefing up the condition regarding the size of the dwellings.
Thank you. Point.
Thank you, through you, Chair. As Matthew's already alluded to, it is an application outlining with all matters reserved for subsequent approval, but we could put a condition on that restricted the development to single storey.
Can we have a mover and a seconder, or are you happy with that, Stuart? We have a mover and a seconder. Okay, thank you. So we have a mover. Thank you very much, Denise. Have we got a seconder? Thank you very much. That's with the additional condition, so we could move in and second it with the additional condition that we have single storey. Okay, is everybody happy with that? Does everybody understand? Okay, can we go to the vote though? All those in favour of approval, please show your hands now. Thank you. And then against? That's carried, and we have one abstention. So that's been approved. Thank you very much. Two-storey residential property, together with new access to the Oldfield Drive and the detached garage. So can we have the presentation, please?
Thank you, Chair. Through you, Chair. The proposal is for a new dwelling with an access in the side garden of number 37 Oldfield Drive, adjacent to number 33. The application has been amended since its initial submission, with a detached dwelling located further back into the site than was initially proposed, with a single storey element at the front reduced in size and projection. The garage is now proposed to be detached from the dwelling, situated adjacent to the outbuildings of number 37. In terms of the principle and the policies that apply, the proposal is for a residential dwelling on land designated for primarily residential purposes. As such, it's acceptable in principle subject to UDP policy HS4. The key consideration is whether the proposals relate well to surrounding properties, whether it would result in a detrimental change to character, and whether the proposal would harm residential amenity. In addition, consideration must be given to the value of trees within the site. The proposal does include the removal of a number of trees in the front portion close to Oldfield Drive. Considering the relationship to surrounding property, the revised proposal sits more comfortable in terms of the building line. The front elevation will be approximately 1 metre proud of number 33, and whilst further forward than number 37, it will be set in line with the outbuildings in the front garden of that dwelling. Just to bring to members' attention, the officer's report includes a figure around the distance of the property from the front boundary of the site. Since the site visit was undertaken, we've clarified with the agent on the scale that was noted on the site plan. That figure should effectively be doubled. So the figure referred to, I think, is 10.2. The property is in actual fact 20.4 metres from the back pavement on Oldfield Drive. So that's the figure at the top of page 12 of the report. A street scene diagram has been submitted which indicates a lower ridge and lower eaves lines than the adjacent properties, but a similar scale and massing to those in the surrounding area. Considering character, a 20-metre separation distance from the highway would ensure that the dwelling does not dominate the street scene or appear incongruous. A number of mature trees along the front boundary would be retained, although trees will be removed to allow access to the dwelling. The spacing achieved to neighbouring houses is considered to be acceptable. 9 metres is achieved to number 33 and approximately 2 metres to number 37. Given the setback of the properties and the number 37 will be to the rear of the proposed dwelling, this relationship is not considered to have potential to harm character. Turning to amenity, the dwelling has been designed to locate principal windows to the front and rear elevations, avoiding significant privacy or overlooking to neighbouring plots. A condition is proposed to ensure obscure glazing is used in side elevations. Number 33 does have windows in the facing side elevation, three windows. However, it is not considered that they are the principal windows to habitable rooms. They're considered to be secondary windows to those rooms. The separation distance of 9 metres is achieved, which would ensure that overbearance is avoided. Considering lastly trees, a tree preservation order has been placed on the frontage trees at the site to prevent their removal without grant of planning permission. The grant of planning permission would permit the removal of a number of trees. However, a condition would secure retention of majority and landscaping can be secured similarly. In conclusion, the scale and form of the amended proposal is felt to relate well to surrounding properties and avoid harm to amenity or harm to the character of the area. It is recommended for approval subject to conditions, notably removing limited development rights and also securing details of land levels and tree protection measures within the site.
Thank you. The Board Councillor is here. Do you want to come forward? Yes.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, members, for allowing me to speak on behalf of the objectors. The applicant hasn't produced a site plan, so I felt it was appropriate to look at, have a site plan and be able to look at what we're actually discussing tonight. Is it okay with permission of the Chair to hand this?